WrestleMania week, and it is prediction time. Welcome to Squared Circle Radio, the show that is for the fans, by the fans. It is WrestleMania week. We are just a few days away from the show of shows, and on this very show tonight, we are going to predict night one of WrestleMania. We cannot wait. The young buck Andy York is here with me. My brother from another mother, Jared Justice, is here with me. My name is Chris Belcher. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's not waste any more time, guys. If you're new to the channel, just like the video, subscribe so you get notifications each and every time that we post new content. Let's get into it, guys. The main event of night number one is a triple threat match that I can safely say, Andy, that we were all a little skeptical about. But these guys are master storytellers, as we have seen over the last couple of weeks. And the importance of Paul Heyman in this storyline. Andy, we've seen he's important to each guy in their own way. It's just so interesting, Andy, that a WrestleMania main event is centered around Paul Heyman.
I mean, listen, if you can't go for the world title, go for the next best thing, and that's Paul Heyman. Yeah, like I never would have thought in a million years that Paul Heyman would be like the center of a WrestleMania main event. But then you look at everything that's happened, not just like the last couple of weeks, but over the course of the last, 10, 15 years. But like this all ties together really well, and it all makes complete sense. And just having him in this match has added an extra wrinkle and a lot of intrigue behind it. Because I mean, there's so many options and there's so many ways that this thing can end.
Paul Heyman, man, if you go back and look, as far back as I can remember watching wrestling, I remember Paul Heyman, and he was always at the center and everything that was going on, the cool aspect of wrestling. This man was there. The Dangerous Alliance, ECW, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk. I mean, it just goes on and on, dude. And I love it that here at WrestleMania 2025, that basically, like y'all talking about, Paul Heyman on a pole, you could even say. I mean, who's going to win him? Paul on a pole.
The Paul pole. Jared, correct me if I'm wrong. The Dangerous Alliance really only had like a short run, right? Wasn't it only like a year or something like that? Something crazy?
It wasn't very long, man. Like, I don't know why it didn't last longer. The group of guys that he had was awesome.
I mean, yeah, you had Rick Rude in there, and you had just all of these.
Arn
Anderson was in there. Just, man, Stunning Steve was in there. Like, I mean, who's that guy ever going to be? Anyway.
He'll never draw.
I never draw a dime. I mean, never have a T-shirt or anything. Anyway, all of that to say, like, Dangerous Alliance, low key, go watch that War Games 1992. Really sidebar in here, but the stinger against the Dangerous Alliance in War Games 1992, go watch it. Anywho, all that to say, Jared, yes, Paul Heyman, it's incredible that this story is really centered around him, and he is a focal point of this main event. But, Jared, if you remove Paul Heyman from this, the vines and the branches that connect CM Punk and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns through the years, they're great storytellers and great entertainers and great performers on their own. So yes, Paul Heyman is an essential part of the story, but Jared, that bell has to ring. And you got three top guys that are about to tear the house down of WrestleMania Night 1.
Yeah, man, I cannot wait. I mean, if we're talking, who would have thought that the triple threat would be the thing I'm looking forward to the most? I mean, usually it's singles match. I mean, you look back at the triple threat that had Randy Orton and Triple H and somebody else I don't remember, but didn't that one kind of suck?
Was John Cena. And
John Cena, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It was okay.
I don't ever want to see it again. I don't ever want to watch it again. But this triple threat, man, I can't wait for it.
Andy?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is my most anticipated match for night one. Just because out of all the matches on WrestleMania weekend, this feels like the most toss-up to me. Because I think there's a scenario where all three guys could come out with the win, and yet still nobody wins at the same time. Like, I think there's a lot of different scenarios that this match can play out. And I completely agree. I'm very excited about this one. I think it's going to be hard if the story is right and the stars align and this is like they're all three at their top. It's going to be hard for a match this entire weekend to beat the triple threat.
Yeah, I agree. And again, it's not even for a title, and it's a main event of WrestleMania, not even for a title. When was the last time that happened? Like, okay,
Austin, Kevin Owens, I think.
Okay, there you go. Good. Look at you recalling.
Well,
that.
other than last year.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't for a title.
Was a tag.
Not really for a title. Okay, moot point. Forget that.
But I think it had like implications for the Night 2 title.
Right.
For whatever.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, for sure. I was going to say sans the pandemic because of Undertaker AJ Styles, but yeah, you're exactly right. Okay, guys, we got to predict this one, though. This could go down. Could go down as the best triple threat match in WrestleMania history if the cards are played correctly. I'm not going to say that it is because the match that I think is we're not allowed to talk about. So let's just say that it's possible that it'll go down as the best. Having said that, Andy, I'm putting you on the spot first. On Monday, we got the comment from Brad, where does Paul lie in all of this? So Andy, I'm going to ask you, who wins the match and what happens with Paul Heyman at the end of it?
I think after all of this, my prediction, there's no way I can look at this main event, as big of a Punk fan I am, in his first ever WrestleMania main event, and not pick him to win. So he is my official prediction to win.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to bet any money on that at all because I'm not the most confident in it, but I am going to pick, I think Punk wins. I like what you talked about. Like, I think Jared mentioned it on the podcast that I like the idea of Paul Heyman walking out of WrestleMania thinking he is the mastermind behind all of this and walks out with absolutely nothing. So I think that's the way it goes. I think he walks out of night one with absolutely nothing. I don't think he ends the weekend that way, though.
Ooh, okay. Some little night two predictions. Okay, we will get to those predictions tomorrow. So make sure that you're tuned in for that. Jared, what's your pick for this night one main event?
So thinking about how if I was actually sitting and trying to book this thing and trying to get the best story out of it, then I think that this situation has to continue and go on farther. So for that reason, I'm picking Seth to win, and I'm picking, just like what Andy talked about, Paul Heyman. He gets mad, and at some point, regardless of what he does, I think that he will help Seth, whether he means to or not, win the match. Seth wins, but Paul walks out on his own.
I wonder, as we're predicting other matches on the WrestleMania card that are multi-person matches, if we'll all be different on it, because this first one, we're all different on it. I am picking the tribal chief Roman Reigns to walk away victorious from this match. Jared, I think you bring up a great point that this story has to continue, but it continues differently for every guy. Andy and I have talked several weeks back about how we need a resolution to this Punk and Rollins thing, and I don't think we're going to get it in this match. So their story will continue. The Roman Seth story will always be there. Paul Heyman will now always and forever be in the center of CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, and you can easily go back to it. But I think Roman Reigns, after what happened last year at WrestleMania, needs to stand tall at the end of night one, reassert his dominance as the tribal chief, the head of the table of WWE, and he's coming for his world championship. When that happens, I don't know, but I think the big dog is back on top at the end of night one. Yes, Andy, I said that just to get a reaction.
Big dog is dead. Don't bring that name up ever again.
Agreed.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, let's go to Roman Reigns' cousin, who is fighting for gold. Night one, the winner of the 2025 Royal Rumble, Jey Uso, taking on the World Heavyweight Champion, the Ring General Gunther. This is one that started off extremely slow. We found out that Jey was picking Gunther 10 days after the Rumble, and we've been building ever since. Jared, we finally have gotten some momentum over the last couple of weeks. What's your feeling going into this one now?
Dude, if there's any other outcome besides Jey winning, I mean, I just don't know where Jey. How can Jey ever show his face again? This will make what, five times that the ring general has put his hand him down. So I think Jay's coming out with the victory, man.
Andy, how you feeling about this one in the way that they've really cooked this up recently?
Yeah, they've done a great job of building more intrigue, and they've made Jey Uso not just an entrance anymore.
Right.
Like he means business every week. Like Monday night's promo when he walked down to the ring, he wasn't really eating. He was wearing all the black again, got on the announce table, but then the fans started chanting one more time. And you just saw like the old Jey like smirk a little bit, and he had fun with the crowd. But then when he started to cut that promo again, he was back to the right-hand man bloodline Jey Uso that we need him to be on Saturday at WrestleMania. So I agree with Jared. I don't see another outcome other than Jey Uso winning. There's never been a better match to kick off WrestleMania weekend than Jey Uso versus Gunther and have your massive moment to start the entire weekend off. But I am pumped for this one.
I hate to tell both of you, but there is another possible outcome for this match.
Oh gosh.
If you're about to suggest what I think you're about to suggest, I might leave.
I'm scared to ask.
I'm not going to suggest it because I think Jey Uso does win the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. I'm just saying, I'm not going to put it past them to have Gunther retain his championship.
Oh,
I don't think it's a good idea. What were you going to think I was going to suggest?
I thought you were about to say Jimmy's coming back out to super kick Jey again, and we're going back down that rabbit hole. That ain't happened. No, they learned from the first time. Never again.
Again, I'm not going to put it past them. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
That's the worst timeline if that happens.
I agree with that. Anything is possible in the Triple H era. All I'm saying is, especially with this new all black look for Jey rather, you got me thinking about Jimmy now. I'm pumped to see what his gear looks like because he's had some of the best gear over the last year or so. I think it'll be really cool. Everybody always steps up with the WrestleMania gear, so Jey will be no different. I do think Jey Uso wins the championship. I think there's some possibility that Pat McAfee gets involved here, and maybe we get a Gunther versus Pat McAfee match down the road, just because McAfee is so ingrained in all this. I also would not mind for Gunther to just slap the taste out of Michael Cole's mouth. I think it would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
Especially because Gunther is just on a tear right now. All of that to say, we get a great start to WrestleMania. We get a happy ending to the first match. New World Heavyweight Champion. Finally, Jey Uso gets the monkey off of his back. Speaking of monkeys off their back, Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. I'm not going to tell you all which one I was calling a monkey. I'm just saying that there is something looming over them, Jared. This story has just been, I don't know, man. What are your?
Yeah.
It's been really back and forth, man. What's your level of excitement on this one?
I am excited to see it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, that I just absolutely can't wait.
Sure.
But I am excited to see it, and I think Charlotte's walking out champion.
Charlotte retaining her championship. Bold move there. Okay. Andy?
Yeah, my excitement for this has started high and has very quickly fallen very fast. I think the match itself is going to be fine. Like, Tiffany's really good in the ring. Charlotte's really good in the ring.
Yep.
After everything that's happened, I don't see how you can put the title on Charlotte. But it's Charlotte Flair. So like there's always, it's like Randy Orton. No matter, even if it's impossible, there's always an opportunity. There's always a chance they're going to walk out with the title. But with that being said, I think they want to build Tiffany as a massive star. And how else would you do that than have her beat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania? So I'm going to pick Tiffany Stratton to retain her title.
Again, I think there's a third outcome here. And I'm going to take the third outcome. I think this match has some sort of non-finish. I think we get some sort of DQ. I think we get some sort of something. I'm not saying the match doesn't get started. It's just the way these two have been going at it recently. I just don't see any way that we get an actual match out of this. And I think the reason that I say that is not just because they've been, fighting through the crowd and doing all these things, whatever. I just don't see a positive outcome for either of them, if I'm being honest. Like the way that this has been booked, Charlotte doesn't look good if she wins, and it buries Tiffany. Tiffany wins, you're burying Charlotte, who is the queen of WWE, and she's the face of your women's division, or has been previously. So I think they've put themselves in such a bad situation that we just have to non-finish it and somehow get out of it. I don't know how, but I don't know. Every WrestleMania match has to have something like this. I think this one is the one we get disappointed in. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about this, unfortunately. Andy, we talked about last week, like, are we even going to get a match of sorts, or are we excited for it, or it's just really weird.
Yeah, it's the whole situation is weird. I wasn't the biggest fan of Charlotte winning the Rumble anyway, so I'm kind of this match was kind of behind the 8 ball for me anyway. And then everything that's kind of happened since then has not always gone great. There have been moments of this feud that have been good, that have been really good, and then there have been a lot of moments that have just not lived up to it, or just a complete and total train wreck. I think there has to be a match. I don't think they want to revisit this, and the only way that you can't revisit this is to have a definitive finish. And I have a hard time believing that Tiffany beating Charlotte at WrestleMania is going to bury Charlotte. I think that's why it's the safest outcome to have Tiffany win and retain, even if it's by a roll-up. Like, even if it's just a quick something. 1, 2, 3, Tiffany retains, and then we just forget this match and this feud ever happened.
That would be what we would hope. All right, let's go to the other women's match from night number 1. The first women's match, again, I didn't get this stat right last week, and I'm still not going to get it right. It's the first singles women's match, I think, on WrestleMania in like 20 years or whatever. Maybe the first
something like that.
Title match, and that would be Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Jared, still lots of, I don't want to call it backstage politics. We'll just call it internet wrestling rumors about Jade Cargill and her perception backstage, all that kind of stuff. Yet here she is in a big spotlight match at WrestleMania last year in a 6-woman tag, this year in a singles match. How are you feeling about the way that they drug out the injury angle for such a long time, and we're finally going to pay it off at WrestleMania?
So I think that basically Jade has to just absolutely Goldberg it. I think this is going to be very fast, very quick, to the point, and it's over. The only thing in my mind, man, that is like, is with Naomi. Naomi has really, other than putting Jade through the glass that we didn't actually, I guess, see, we saw the aftermath. But other than that, Naomi hasn't really got anything over on Jade. So it makes me think, Jade's still going to bulldoze her, but I think so.
They're protecting her for some reason, Andy.
Yeah. I think part of that is to build to whatever they're going to do with her and Bianca whenever they're going to do that. I don't think this is the only Jade-Naomi match we get.
Right. I agree.
Which I think you could do. Maybe I've said this from the beginning. I think Jade does Goldberg it and just completely wreck her. It's probably the fastest match of the weekend. Jade just dominant 1, 2, 3, and then maybe after the match, Naomi just takes a steel chair to her and just completely wrecks her. And then, whatever the next pay-per-view is or whatever the next massive show that they have is, run it back with a stipulation, and then you can get your back and forth for that. But I think they want to give Jade a WrestleMania moment. Maybe they want to beat, whatever the quickest match at WrestleMania is, which is hard to do because I think it's The Rock beating Eric Rowan in like 3 seconds. I think it's something like that. But I agree. I think this is just a quick, easy match. Hit all the hits. Jade wins.
I do not think this is as quick as you guys are saying. And Andy, I had one prediction until you just said this is probably not the only Jade Naomi match. I'm giving Naomi the edge in this one because I think she gets the win. Jared, you brought up an excellent point about the car situation. We have not seen what happened yet. And I think in order to build the intrigue of this story, for us to see what happened, I think Naomi needs to win this. Now, having said that, that's going to lead to a night 2 prediction for me. And then once that prediction comes to fruition, then we get the reveal of what actually happened. Then Jade can squash Naomi on her way to a Women's World Championship shot against her other partner from last year's WrestleMania. So I think that one leads to this one, but all that to say, I think Naomi gets the shocking win here, and then Jade's WrestleMania moment comes next year. All right, let's move on to the United States Championship match. It is Jacob Fatu against L.A. Knight. Yeah. I love that we all got that in there. Andy, thoughts here? I know, again, we speculated that we could have more people in this match. Maybe we still add that this coming Friday. Maybe not. I don't know. What's your take?
This one should be cut and dry. This one should be just what it looks like it should be, which is Jacob Fatu just running through LA Knight. There is a scenario, though, where Braun Strowman gets involved and costs Jacob, and LA Knight retains, and then we keep that going. But I feel like that last man standing match they had with Braun for the number 1 contender spot was kind of like the end of that. So maybe they revisit it, maybe they don't. I don't know. But there's no way I'm picking against Jacob Fatu. Even as much as I love LA Knight, there is no way Jacob Fatu does not walk out of WrestleMania without the U.S. title and without building more heat and intrigue between him and Solo, heading to whatever they're going to do between those two.
Jared?
I think the J train is going to keep on rolling. I think it's going to be Jade, then it's going to be Jacob. I think Jacob is absolutely, hopefully, going to bulldoze this guy. I think it'll take longer, but I still think he's going to bulldoze him, man.
All right, Jared, let me pose this to you. We speculated on the podcast earlier this week. We don't know. Hopefully we'll find out on Friday what we're going to do with Randy Orton at WrestleMania since he doesn't have a match. What are the chances that they add Randy Orton to this match? Make it a triple threat match so that LA Knight could keep his championship and Jacob Fatu does not have to get pinned.
I think that's the best thing I've heard so far for Randy. I mean, I kind of hope you're right. I would love to see Randy thrown into this as opposed to all the other scenarios that we've heard of what we might do with Randy. So, yeah, I think if Randy gets in there, man, I don't know, man. I think Randy would win in that situation and just not pin Jacob.
Hey, all right. Andy, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think if you add Randy, then you add Solo. And I think we just make both mid-card titles a fatal 4-way.
Okay.
And
get behind that.
I think the outcome is probably still the same with Jacob, but it's Randy Orton and the title match at WrestleMania.
Right.
So I would probably bet Randy Orton, but I would pick Jacob Fatu to win.
I am going to...
It's not double dipping, dude. I can't do that.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing you don't go to the casinos, Andy. I mean, good grief.
Oh, I know it is.
You got to learn the rules of gambling and all this other stuff. I am going to stick to that revelation that I literally just came up with, and that Randy Orton's getting added to this match so that LA Knight retains the United States Championship and Jacob Fatu does not get pinned. Because I don't think this Jacob Solo situation needs a title right now. And I don't necessarily like the idea of them putting the U.S. title on LA Knight just to have him lose it. Going from the heel Nakamura to LA Knight and then to Jacob Fatu. So I'm going to go LA Knight here, and he carries that title for a little while longer. All right. Speaking of championship matches, the Raw Tag Team Championship is on the line. I will forever call it that. Sorry. As the War Raiders defend against the heel version of the New Day. A lot of people, Andy, I know. Jared, okay, Jared, go ahead. Get your prediction out of the way. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
I mean, keep talking about bulldozing, man. I don't think it's going to happen, but dude, I want to see the New Day just get squashed so bad that I never, ever have to see them on my TV again.
I'm so glad you said again. Andy, there is lots of internet rumor speculation that the only reason this match was added to the WrestleMania card is because of potential involvement of Big E. What say you?
I would probably lean that way because the tag match we're getting on Friday night is a lot more exciting than what we're getting at WrestleMania.
That is fair. Yes.
Because we're getting Street Profits in Motor City on Friday night. And why are we doing that and not, on WrestleMania? Anyways, probably. Like, I think I think Big E gets involved, but I still think New Day win. Because I think they want to give the New Day and this new heel version of them, they want to give them a WrestleMania big time moment, make them sort of relevant again. Because when they turned, it was one of the best things that Raw was doing, and then they just kind of dropped it, and nothing has really happened since then. So I think New Day gets the win. Maybe Big E comes out afterwards. Maybe there's a backstage segment with him or whatever the case is. But I do see New Day winning.
I have to agree. I think the New Day's going to get the win here. I'm sorry, Jared. Like, I really want the War Raiders to keep the titles. I really would love to see the New Day just get squashed into the mat, but I think the New Day is going to come out victorious here. I like Andy's point that I think they got to do something meaningful with them as heels, although I would like to see the War Raiders win and run it back with the Creed brothers. I thought they were having some fantastic matches. It could be, they could be champs here pretty soon, but I'm going to go New Day in this situation. One more match from night number 1. Appreciate you guys being with us on the show. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Tons more content to get to on WrestleMania week. But the last match for night number 1 is Rey Mysterio against this brand newcomer, El Grande Americano. I don't know why Chad Gable gets screwed out of WrestleMania matches all the time, Jared, but they're just leaving him off again. What are they doing replacing him with this newcomer?
But is he getting screwed out of a WrestleMania match?
Well,
Oh, man. I hope Ray wins, and then we unmask Gable. And then that he's had his WrestleMania moment, because there he is. Nobody would have ever guessed it, but there he is.
Andy?
I would love if they could I don't know how they would be able to do it.
I know what you're going to say.
But if they could unmask El Grande Americano and it's not Chad Gable.
Yep.
That would be absolutely amazing if they would do that, or like just Chad Gable shows up ringside somehow.
Yep.
I don't know how they would do it. I don't know what would go on, but that would be like best case scenario. And because of that, I'm picking El Grande Americano to establish himself as the greatest luchador of all time and beat Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania.
How terrible.
Oh my gosh. I do think Ray wins. And as you guys were sitting here saying and giving your predictions, in my brain, I'm literally thinking, how could they make the switch? How could they make the switch? How could they make it happen? Because I do also believe that they'll unmask him and it won't be Gable, so that they can keep this storyline going, but Ray still gets a WrestleMania win, because we don't know if this is going to be Ray's last WrestleMania. It may not. He's got, more years behind him than he does in front of him. Who knows? Having said that, I don't have Ray lose here. I think you got to have a babyface win, especially all these heel victories that we're sitting here predicting. All right.
How good would it be? I have to throw this out
yes,
because
go.
it popped in my mind.
Go.
How good would it be if El Grande
Americano,
people who know Spanish know what I just said, but how good would it be if you had a wrestler come in and Ray unmasks him and it's not Gable, and then Gable comes in from behind, still dressed as El whatever, rolls up Ray, 1, 2, 3, and out of there he goes.
Yes. Yes, 1,000% yes.
Boys.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. I'm glad we're having fun with this though. At first it kind of seemed really stupid, but I'm really glad that we're able to have fun with this. I like it. All right. Let's go through our WrestleMania Saturday predictions, and then we will move on to WrestleMania Sunday coming up tomorrow. So we appreciate you guys again being tuned in with us. Let's recap Saturday before we get out of here, though. Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. I am officially taking Rey Mysterio to win. Andy?
I'm picking El Grande Americano.
Jared?
I'm picking El Asno. El Grande Asno.
Oh, buddy. All right. Tag Team Championship, New Day, War Raiders. I am going New Day as the new champs. Jared?
Dude, I can't go with New Day. I'm going Raiders or whatever they are, Viking people, whatever.
War. Andy?
I'm going New Day.
All right. Jade Cargill in her first WrestleMania singles match against Naomi. Jared?
Jade.
Andy?
Jade.
I'm going Naomi. All right. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. I'm going to put a little twist. I think Randy Orton gets added, but ultimately LA Knight retains. Yeah. Andy?
Jacob Fatu.
Jared?
Jacob.
Oh, Lord. All right. For the Women's Championship, Charlotte Flair going up against the champion, Tiffany Stratton. Jared?
Charlotte.
Andy?
It's still Tiffy time.
I am going non-finish in this one just to keep this one going for whatever reason. Maybe, I don't know. I'm going non-finish here. All right. World Heavyweight Championship, Jey Uso finally getting his shot against Gunther. I'm going Jey Uso to finally win the championship and give us that feel-good moment. Jared?
Yeet.
Andy?
Yeet.
We're all in agreement there. All right. The main event, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk. Jared?
Seth.
Andy?
CM Punk.
I'm acknowledging my tribal chief. Roman Reigns wins the main event of night number 1. All right, that is it. WrestleMania Night 1 in the books for you. We appreciate you guys being with us. Thank you so much. Again, check out all of our other content on our channel. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Guys, we are just mere days away from WrestleMania. We have more content the rest of the week. Jared, I'm pumped for everybody to see this content, but I am so pumped for Saturday and Sunday. WrestleMania could be the biggest WrestleMania of all time. What say you?
I think that these shows that we're doing, these past few, have been some of the biggest of all time. I think WrestleMania has the potential to be one of the biggest, especially since I think expectations are set so low, they're going to be able to just blow it out of the park. I hope that's what happens. I think that's what will happen.
Yeah, Andy, the build, and if you read the stuff on the IWC, the build has not been great, but they didn't build Rome in a day. You got to give them time to cook. And the cooking, that timer's about to go off in a mere couple of days.
It is. And, you know, they're in a tough spot of following WrestleMania 40 last year, which was, in my opinion, an all-time WrestleMania. It was one of the best. They have a tough time following that. But if any group of people and any card could do it, this one has the potential to be very, very, very special. And so I'm looking forward to both nights.
Only time will tell. We will be right here with you on Squared Circle Radio, recapping both Saturday and Sunday. and of course our live show on Monday night. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you stay locked in right here. For Mr. Jared Justice, Andy York, my name's Chris Belcher. Thank you for being with us on another edition of Squared Circle Radio. We will catch you guys tomorrow.